Welcome back to another edition of the Keto Journey. I'm your host Jermaine, and today we're going to start off by talking about running, and we're probably going to end with running because this week's video is all about running. Now, as you can tell from my current attire, I may or may not have ran a race Sunday. The race was called Suck It Up Buttercup, which is a perfect name for a race that you run in Florida because, again, I took my advice from last week and I hydrated, but I was still running in the 78, 80 degree weather. I decided to do a 10K this time. I ran this race last year and I told myself that I wasn't going to do it. Last year I ran a 5K, so this year I didn't run a 5K. I ran a 10K just because I like to push myself every once in a while. I like to challenge myself. And I got this cool little Buttercup Suck It Up medal. It doesn't say anything about a 10K on it, which is disappointing. But I know I ran a 10K. Runkeeper knows I ran a 10K. My legs and my feet know I ran a 10K, and that's all that matters in the grand scheme of things. Now, the reason why I want to talk about running this week is because running, or probably any exercise that you do, anything that you're pushing your body towards, but specifically running and dieting have a lot in common. Now, in both aspects, I did not want to do either. The only reason I started running is because I actually don't know. I told myself I was going to do it. It was something that I knew was a challenge, something that I didn't think was possible, and now I'm running all the time, whenever possible. I'm running races, I'm actually doing decent, I'm getting a good pace down, and that's something that 2 years ago, if you would have told me that I was going to run more than a mile, if I was going to run 5 miles, 10 miles, possibly 13 miles, I probably would have called you a crazy person, and there's no way. I know me, I know myself, there's no way I'm going to do that. Same with dieting. If you'd have told me that I would have lost up to 70 pounds by changing the way I eat, I loved eating. Eating is what helped me cope with the world. Eating brought me joy. I love tasting new foods, and I can still do all that. It's just, a matter of cutting out the carbs and all that fun stuff. But back to running. When I run these races, it's usually just me and the elements. Yes, there are other people at the races, but a race in itself, and I hope if you start running, just keep this in mind. When you're running, it's all about you. It doesn't matter if somebody is 20 and they're 40 feet ahead of you, or somebody is 80, which they'll probably be 40 feet ahead of you, or gender, race. None of that. It's all about you running your race. That's all you got to remember. Run your race. Same way with the ketogenic diet. Remember, it's your body. It's going to react to foods differently than other people, and it's your race. It's your journey. Make sure that you're doing it the way you want to do it. Now, I never was one for training when it comes to running. I run until I feel like I got enough, and then I stop. I didn't officially train for a 5K. I just pushed myself. All right, this week I'm going to run 2 miles. This week I'm going to run 3 miles. This week I'm going to run 4 miles. And that's how I got through my training. Same way with the keto diet. There are definitely rules and stuff that you need to set to. You need to understand the science behind it. But when it comes to your diet, your everyday diet, what you're going to be doing day in and day out, that's up to you. Now, there's definitely mounds and mounds of resources to help you make those decisions. And in episode 52 of the Keto Journey, that'll be a year mark in which I've been on this keto diet. And I will go into some resources that can help you, some people that I follow on YouTube, some people I look at it on Reddit. But at the end of the day, it's going to be tailor-made towards you. I can't cookie cut you a diet, a successful diet, based on what I did. I can go through my FitnessPal and just show you everything that I ate for the last 7-8 months, but that doesn't mean it's going to work for you in the same way. So that was it. I just wanted to show my mentality when it comes to running and when it comes to dieting. I think the running has helped me stay on my diet more because I proved to myself that I was able to do these races. I was able to keep up this level of running. Even when I was 300 plus pounds and I was running, I still did it because I told myself I was going to do it. Same goes with this diet. I told myself I was going to do it. I gave it a good effort. I've done it for the last 11 months, almost 12 months. And for me, running and the diet have gone hand in hand. I don't plan on stopping either anytime soon, if ever. And that was it. Just a small chit chat about running and eating and dieting and all that fun stuff. Also, I've said this before, you do not need to carbo load to have a successful race. There was a race that I ran, I think it was in February or March. It was my fastest 5K outside, and I was on my lowest amount of carbs to date. I was doing probably 10 grams of carbs a day, if that, and I ran one of my fastest races, further proving that you don't need carbs to work out, you don't need carb for energy, you don't need carb to run. And I'm sure there's gonna be a million people to say, oh, but whatever. I know what's worked for me. I've been running since almost 2 years ago, which is crazy to sound. I guess I'm a runner now. I like to run. It's fun. I can't believe I wore this during the whole video. I was gonna take it off, but I mean, I'm not gonna wear these things off, and I have a whole wall of these, and maybe in episode 52 I'll get into all of that and what I think about when I see it and all the different stories that are attached to each medal. Because the funny thing is, as soon as I get the medal, I put it on, which means it's drenched in sweat. Like, this thing is probably just full of sweat right now. It's pretty gross. Thank you for tuning in. As you notice, I'm not doing the numbers this week because I think I've gotten my head too tied around the numbers, too worried about that number dropping. I feel great. I'm looking great. There's parts of my body that haven't existed since I was in high school. So I know the diet's working. I just need to buckle down, ride out these next 2 weeks so I can see if I can hit my first initial goal weight of 233. And then we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do going forward on this keto journey. Don't get me wrong, it's not gonna end at 1 year. I'm not gonna get to 1 year and give a retrospective of the whole diet and say, this is what I feel and blah, 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 and cut. No more videos, no more diet. That's not happening. We're just gonna figure out what we're gonna do. Tune in next week. I believe I'm gonna do a video on the techie stuff that has helped me on this keto journey, as far as smartphones, apps, websites, things I do throughout the day to like capture recipes, all that fun stuff. I believe I'm gonna do that in episode 51. Episode 52 will be number heavy. So if you're super into the numbers and wanna know how much weight I lost or gained, tune in 2 videos. Next week I'm not doing numbers either. I did weigh myself and I do know how much I weigh, but next week is gonna be all about tech. Thank you for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. If you have any comments or anything you want me to touch on in the future, go ahead and leave it down below. And until next week, keep it keto.